Yesterday's answer is Cookie Monster. Me want cookie. But as I'm saying, let's see if you want to do the first spin. Take it away. Our first spin is, wait for a minute. Guess the emoji. The category is a game. So, can you guess these 3 emojis? Well, stay tuned for the second spin, and we'll check back for tomorrow's video.
It's Raquel's turn to shine!
This is Rhino Productions for Halloween.
Creepy zombies went out to trick or treat. Everybody danced to the spooky beat. They had such enormous fun. They called for another creepy zombie to come. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Show me the money. Show me the money. Hello there. I'm Cleo Graves. Today, we're taking a look at the top 10 real mummies. And guess what? The Super Monsters 5th anniversary is coming in 2 days. So without further ado, let's get started.
Let's crack open the sarcophagus and get this unwrapped. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10
Well,
real mummies.
I'm a mummy
For this
now.
list, we're looking at the most famous human bodies to ever be preserved after death through either natural or artificial
Whoa,
means.
still got the movie though.
Number 10,
The
the beauty
Beauty
of Chao He.
Childhood?
She almost seems to be sleeping. The beauty of Chao He, also known as the beauty of Lao Lan, is just one of over 160 mummies discovered in China's
Wow,
arid Tarim
that's a
Basin.
lot of mummies.
Some buried in upside-down boats with a forest of gigantic poles rising from the prows. Although the beauty of Chao He is around 4,000 years old, the dry desert heat has preserved even her auburn hair.
Well,
Many of the other
it's
mummies
going
also
around
have
now.
distinctly Caucasian features, leading to much
an
speculation
Egyptian
about
queen.
their origin and the early movements
Still
of
be
people
honored and
along
with
the
you.
Silk Road.
Am I doing
Number 9,
good?
Rosalia Lombardo. In 1918, a broken-hearted father approached embalmer Alfredo Salafia in Palermo, Sicily. The man's almost 2-year-old daughter had just died
Oh
in a
my.
Salafia
My
agreed to
poor
embalm
young
the girl,
mommy.
and she was placed in a glass casket in the Capuchin catacombs
Still
of
dead.
Palermo. While
As
skeptics
well.
have claimed the mummy is really made of wax, X-ray and MRI scans show otherwise. Her small body continues to lie at rest in the catacombs.
Well,
So
rest in peace,
lifelike,
though.
it sometimes
Rest
seems
in
to peer
peace.
out at visitors. Number 8, Hatshepsut. She's been called the queen who would be king. This female pharaoh ordered statues to depict her with bulging muscles and a false beard. She became queen after marrying
Gotta
her
stay
half-brother
tuned for the
Thutmose
second
II,
spin,
then
if my
regent
honest
after his
is.
death, before
Am
assuming
I?
the full powers of pharaoh. Despite a successful reign, many of her statues were later destroyed, possibly by her son or
Long
grandson.
live Egypt!
Discovered in
Let's
1903
go
by
now!
real-life Indiana Jones Howard Carter. Her 3,500-year-old body was identified in 2007 thanks to a molar tooth that fit into her mouth like a glass slipper onto a slender foot.
And therefore that tooth exactly fit with the mummy that we found in KV-60.
Number 7. Jeremy Bentham. This might be the weirdest mummy on the list.
Whoa,
Upon his death in
weird
1832, English philosopher and founder of modern utilitarianism Jeremy Bentham left very specific instructions. First, he wanted to be publicly dissected by his friends. Next, he wanted his skeleton to be dressed up in his clothes and stuffed full of hay, because being buried is boring.
Well, hey.
He also requested that his head be mummified using traditional Maori techniques
Look at the
as part
mummy
of
on
turning his
that
body
book.
into an auto icon. Unfortunately, this did not go as planned, so a wax head was used instead. That didn't stop students from stealing the real head in 1975 and ransoming it back for £100, though only £10 was paid by University College London, where it was being displayed. Number 6. Tollundman. When Danish woman Greta Heigård stumbled over a corpse as she cut peat with her family in
Denmark?
1950, she thought she'd unearthed a recent murder victim. But in fact, Tollundman, as he became known, had died roughly 2,200 years earlier.
Well,
His
still got the
skin is
fact on
blackened,
that
but
one.
remarkably
Gonna
preserved,
take a look at
down
that.
to crease lines around his eyes. Scholars believe he was hung as part of a ritual human sacrifice, though that is still debatable. Human remains have been found in peat bogs throughout northern Europe, preserved by low temperatures, lack of oxygen, and acid
Still
in
gotta
peat,
preserve
which
on that.
wards off bacteria. Number 5. Liao Chuan. In 1990,
Liao Chuan.
a very old Buddha statue underwent restoration, and experts were shocked to discover human remains within. In 2015, a CT scan of the artifact revealed the 1,000-year-old mummified remains of a Buddhist monk seated in a lotus position. His organs had
Oh,
been
it's got
replaced
a
by scraps of
1,000-year-old
paper
Buddha
printed with ancient
statue.
Chinese characters. Text inside identified him as Liao Chuan. His mummified remains could be an instance of Sokshin
Still
Butsu,
got the mummified
Buddhist
on
practice
this.
of living mummification, which involves gradual starvation that eliminates liquids and fats from the body. Number 4. Children of Yul Yaakov. Over 500 years ago, 3 Incan children were left to die near the summit of the volcano Yul Yaakov, on the border of Argentina and Chile. Perfectly preserved
Oh
by the cold,
my
the frozen bodies were
goodness.
rediscovered in 1999.
Still got the rare
All had been
ones.
drugged using coca leaves and maize beer. Researchers believe the oldest, a girl in her early teens,
Well,
was
still
a
got the
summer
old
virgin
ones,
chosen
too.
to serve as a ritual
Am I?
sacrifice. With her was her younger half-sister, whose body had been struck by lightning after death, and an unrelated bound boy with blood and
Oh,
vomit
still
on his
got the
coat.
thunder. It's
Signs he may
gone.
put up a struggle. Number
It's
3.
tragic.
Ötzi. The German tourists who stumbled over Ötzi's remains thought they'd found the body of some poor mountaineer, but the Iceman actually died over 5,000 years ago. Frozen in the ice for millennia, he eventually began to thaw out. He was around 45 when he was killed, probably from a blow to the head and or the arrow lodged in his shoulder. But he went down fighting. Based on DNA analysis, forensic scientists suggest he shot 2 people with 1 arrow
Oh
and may
my.
have carried a wounded
Still got the
companion
shot.
over his shoulder before finally dying.
Shot that.
Knife still clutched in his right hand. Number 2. Lady Di. In the late 60s and early 70s, workers accidentally unearthed the tomb of the Marquise of Dai, Qin Shui, a noble during the Han Dynasty in China over 2,000 years ago.
Shui.
Her body was buried in 4 nested coffins decorated with themes of death and rebirth, and is one of the best preserved ancient humans
Ooh,
ever
this is the
found.
best thing
with
I ever
eyelashes
saw.
still on her eyelids.
Am
and
I gonna
traces
be a
of
good
blood in
time
her
this
veins.
time?
She was preserved thanks to an unknown liquid and an airtight tomb. Her body and belongings are now in the care of the Hunan Museum in China.
She led a life of considerable ease and luxury.
No joke. I used to watch a lot of documentaries about ancient Egypt as a kid, and they would often show mummies. And I ended up having a nightmare that one was in bed with me, and quite frankly,
Still
I'm
got
still kinda
mummified.
I mean, looking at the sarcophagus is one thing, but the actual mummy... Anyway, do you think you know which real-life mummy is the most famous? I think I do, but let's see if I'm right after these honorable mentions.
Lenin. Ramesses the second.
most interesting discovery
Not just a model.
is how well preserved she is. Not only her face, but also her hair.
So
which appears to be
horrified.
quite long and falls either side of her head, and is truly remarkably preserved.
So I could had it and through ya.
Not quite at the end yet. Almost there though. Just be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Ooh.
Alright, back to business. Number 1. Tutankhamun. When British archaeologist
That's-
Howard
that's
Carter
a
discovered
pharaoh.
King Tut's tomb in 1922, it catapulted him to worldwide fame. The tomb was packed with a mind-blowing wealth of artifacts, including, of course, the 3,300-year-old mummy itself, wrapped in linen and placed inside a golden sarcophagus.
Death, eternal punishment for anyone who opens this casket.
The premature deaths of some who entered the tomb popularized a belief in a curse of the
The
pharaohs,
Mummy.
inspiring the original The Mummy
Still
movie,
got the movie,
and for
huh?
better or worse, all Mummy movies to come.
Mummy movies? Mummy. Mummy.
Tutankhamun remains arguably the most famous pharaoh in history, and the most famous mummy. Do you agree with our picks?
Well, there you have it. Second spin coming up.
Second spin, coming right up. Another movie pick coming through, but today's movie is The Mummy.
Still remember the trailer when the mummy head coming out of the sand chasing characters? Scary. This rendition was fun and funny. Such a lovable mummy. I recall she referred to Arnold Vosloo as Billy Zane. Can't say I know which would be, and so by not as Zaniac and Vosloo made a great mummy. My favorite character, other than watching Rachel Weisz, runner-up is Odafia as a Magi. I love the line of the counterpart. Not bad for the Magi. And every story has a movie moron, and John Hannah fills the role to perfection. Meaning I ate him. This action-packed, fast-paced fun. Rather than doing they keep and entertain until the end. This movie is a definite classic. The chemistry between Rick and Eve is incomparable that I hadn't seen in a while. It is rare to see the entire cast perform well together. Music will absolutely perfect and beautiful. Listening to music alone makes you think of Egypt. The movie makes you want to listen to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack makes you want to watch the movie. I never get tired of watching a movie. The second one was good, and the third we're not even going to talk about. One of my favorite mummy, Egypt adventure romantic movie. I have always been fascinated with ancient Egypt. This is such a well-made movie. Action, romance, comedy, thrill, adventure, all in one entertainment. Background music is good. Obviously, the lead actors are a huge plus. Even after 20 years, the movie is still fresh. I like the second part also. The maker shouldn't stop with 2 parts though. All the charm, exclusiveness were lost after that. Don't miss this movie just because it was made 20 years ago. Well, see you there.
Alright, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.